In any progressive society or economy, there are two distinctive fundamental elements that clearly determine the level of development: the infrastructure and the human structure. The infrastructure is durable, physical, visible, and extensive, while the human structure relates to psychological and emotional components of life. Both of these criteria should form the basic trajectory of any good governance and play crucial roles in the overall success of any administration. The degree to which they are addressed determines the degree of progress in any given society. This basic understanding of the rubrics of governance ought to be the defining factors or acceptable view of Nigeria's leaders or any leaders elsewhere. How much they are able to implement both structures with equal vigor. Almost 53 years after Nigeria's independence, we are still facing vast infrastructural deficiencies and total human structure neglect. In many areas of our society, not much has changed since our inception or birth, and it does not appear that they will change anytime soon. Our villages and towns remain as nature determined them: inaccessible roads in the rainy seasons, impure water consumption, short lifespan, same jungle justice over a period of 5 decades. Except our good mastery of fraud, deception, and profound wickedness, our general attitude towards life and toward one another has not evolved positively. In some of the villages and towns that have experienced some degree of development, these structures are erected in such unplanned, hazardous ways that they further contribute to flood and general inconvenience to our people. The same schools, churches, and other structures our colonial masters left behind are still being used today without much regard to human safety. And as far as I'm concerned, this is failure, not even tragedy. The pool of culprits is deep and vast. The blame has many generations of leaders to share. 53 years is more than enough for any nation to achieve maximum development. Unfortunately, Nigeria has not made much progress with infrastructure nor the human structure. This is not progress, but guaranteed failure. Nigeria has enough resources and brain power to effect serious lasting changes in our total development. There is no excuse for the kind of mediocrity and lack of foresight prevalent today. Irrespective of our ethnicities, our religion, class, and other social distinctions, we must arrive at a consensus as to the goals and objectives of leadership or governance, necessary to elevate the nation to the acceptable levels of advanced nations. From the federal to the state and local government levels, we must establish an ultimate infrastructure blueprint and follow that blueprint until we are removed from the list of third world nations. And we must do it now before it's very late. Instead of arresting journalists and intimidating men and women who are critical of government ineptitude, government must see criticism as a catalyst and accept the challenges laid out by these social critics. That's a slow dwindling of demand for crude oil, our most vital source of national revenue, as the world seeks alternative sources of energy. Inevitably, Nigeria's national revenue would sadly decline. It is most troubling that our present leaders do not see the grave danger of this impending shortfall and how it relates to national security. I do not see any meaningful assessment of national security concerns given this scenario. No sense of urgency to prepare for a sharp decline and to create other sources of revenue to supplement the loss. A 30 to 40% drop in demand for our oil spells serious instability for an already fragile political environment and economy. This is a forewarning for our political parties and our leaders. We cannot ignore the threat of lower oil sale. The race to find alternative sources of revenue must commence now, or we face a major national security threat, not from external powers or forces, but from poverty. We must attend to the real nation building while we have the resources before socio-economic conditions induce violent public revolt that hit at the core of our nation's foundation. The violent our reactions from our youths over any minor provocations are precursors. These young men, though misdirecting their angers presently, are being exploited by leaders as tools of political suppression and vindictiveness, would eventually realize their common enemies. They are part of the human structure being neglected for decades. And the fact that government remains uncommitted to raising the standard of living, but rather pursues self-serving motives, is asking for anarchy. They will eventually unhinge the nation and cause human stampede that leads to a national suicide as people fight for the scarce basics of life. So it is in the interest of all, including government, to speed up Nigeria's infrastructural development to attain full development once and for all, so that the nation could daily address the human structure as government should do. Full infrastructural development is a goal worth following. It entails massive investment in public facilities, amenities, and futuristic in concept. From the remote of villages to the teeming urban centers, the nation could accomplish up to 90% of short and long-term infrastructural needs of the nation within 5 to 6 years range of time. We have 33 states in the nation. I am suggesting that the federal government commit a sum of $17 billion towards this goal. We do have the funds. Our oil economy do generate much more than this annually. Each state will receive at least $500 million to meet the goal, or incrementally receive $100 million each year for a 5-year period. From village river roads, farm roads, streets, electricity, public schools, police outposts in every village, drainage systems, hospitals, bridges, sidewalks, cross-village and town roads, and the rest, all will be built to global standards. A structural milestone. This is the ultimate bold step and requires courage and conviction. It will relieve states from the present dilemma of committing 70% of their federal allocation to infrastructure, which, in my opinion, is not enough to address state needs. It's a job and industry creation exercise as demand for service-oriented businesses are bound to increase. These facilities would need to be maintained. Its economic ramifications, including foreign investments, tourism, are humongous. The easy and quick movement of goods and services will further create economic activities that are profitable and thus truly impact our gross domestic product. New science and technology will emerge as well as new nation with great respect. Attitudes will change as people achieve economic security. This is not a lofty, vain idea. Nations have been transformed in shorter periods of time. This is the largest effort to thwart the generation of society and welcome progress. All Nigerian infrastructural needs can be accomplished within a 5 years range of time. This I strongly believe. Thereafter, we would only have maintenance and minimal construction to address. If we desire to be welcomed in the community of advanced nations, we must accept this challenge. Our great economic power and political influence within Africa depend on the degree of our infrastructural buildup. We cannot continue to embark on this road to nowhere. Let us invest our resources and engineer while we can. Let us end this self-abuse. Let us have a clear purpose. Let us elevate life to where it should be. Let us stop pretending we are working for the general good when it's obvious we are selfish. The investment we make in 5 years will transform Nigeria forever. Thank you, and may God bless you.